Today I bring you a short story from the EU regarding a interesting little court battle involving PlayStation. Now, this court battle was actually brought up by PlayStation and Sony regarding third-party software for one of their older games. A company called Datel or Datel, it is a European name, I don't know if I'm saying that right. This company was apparently selling cheat software for a very old game called MotorStorm by Sony, which obviously it tweaks the game, so you have things like infinite boost and such. It's not like they're selling an aimbot for like Call of Duty or something. It's pretty much just an old solo game that you play individually. Essentially it's an offline game. Now, Sony brought this up because obviously Sony wouldn't want anyone messing with their games. The thing is, cheat softwares like this that don't completely alter the game on an internal level, that don't completely change the source code itself, they do not infringe copyright, which is exactly what an EU court of justice in Luxembourg ruled. I.e., these cheats that this Datel company was selling, and is apparently still selling, do not infringe on copyright, therefore there's nothing Sony can do to prevent them from selling. Now, obviously this is an old game and they are selling cheats for an old game, but it does set a potential precedence now that it is known that copyright does not cover things above source code level. So as long as cheats don't alter the game on a fundamental basis, this could mean that we see the beginning of like cheats in solo player, single player, offline games for consoles, which is something that has been out of the window for decades now, I guess. The last time I remember using a cheat in a game on a console is PlayStation 2, to be honest. So having a company creating cheats for a console game on console, which is then not only accepted by courts in the EU, but also is proven not to infringe on copyright, means that we could see more companies making cheats for games to add another layer of fun to those games. I don't know about anyone else, but I love replaying games, but after a single run, a lot of games get a bit stale. But if you could run cheats on like PlayStation and Xbox, you could have so many different runs of the same game. You could get so much more value out of a game. Now obviously Sony isn't going to like this, nor is any real developer, because they're going to say, oh, it's our game and they're just leeching off of it, or they're messing up our business model, which is technically understandable from a certain perspective, but 90% of their perspective is just corporate greed, so I tend to take everything they say with a grain of salt. Since these changes are only allowed to modify games in terms of variables and like certain tweaks on console, this obviously means you're not going to see PC level modding going on. You're not going to be seeing any assets added to games, most likely. You're not going to see huge monumental differences in games the way you would when you see modding done to games on PC. But it is a nice step forward that could potentially lead to some very interesting changes to the console gaming atmosphere. I just found this to be a very interesting story to read, and I just thought I'd share it with you all. Thanks for your time. Take care.